Om Sri Sai Ram, and welcome to the next episode of Tuning Into Sai, a podcast series offered by Sri Sathya Sai Center of Mill Hill. In today's episode, I am joined by Dev Kothari. Dev uncle was born in Nairobi, Kenya, and moved to the UK in 1966. He is currently a microbiologist by profession in the field of infections and treatment. Uncle has been in Swami's fold and part of Mill Hill Sai Centre for 35 years. Over the years, Uncle has had the opportunity to serve in multiple medical camps in Africa and the UK. Sai Ram, and welcome, Uncle.
Sai Ram.
Very much looking forward to hearing your experiences.
Right.
So to start things off, Uncle, can you share about how you first encountered Swami in your life? How did he enter?
This is going back to 1990 when we were on holiday in Spain, and we were walking along the road and this car hit me and my wife, and we were badly injured. And we had to be flown back to UK for treatment.
Wow.
So to cut a long story short, after the whole event and my recovery, I felt that Swami was looking after us. And we started going into bhajan, attending bhajans near our house. And from there, I got into center, Mill Hill Sai Center.
Okay, so because that experience was obviously very difficult, but you said that you felt something was there.
There, somebody was there to look after us.
Look after you.
Because we had two very young boys, and the thought of it, anything had happened to us, what would happen to them, that was on my mind.
Yeah, and then you got back to the UK, you recovered and everything
after,
was arranged.
about 3 months, because my tibia was fractured.
Okay.
And that had to heal.
Yeah. Okay, and then here you mentioned that you used to go to bhajans, Sai bhajans weekly?
Sai bhajans, yes,
Yeah.
Sai bhajans, that's right.
And then through that center,
I met
you
people,
came,
and they talked about this center, and I started going in there.
Okay.
And that's how it went on. And the Mill Hill used to be, the center used to be in Canada Villa.
Yes.
Yeah, and the best memory of when we started going to Mill Hill Center was that it was a smaller hall, but my wife's birthday is on 14th November.
Okay.
And it happened to be the day when the Akhand Bhajans finishes.
Yes.
So I wanted to book Aarti for my wife. And the Aarti was mainly for her birthday, and as well to say to Swami, thank you for saving us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the Akhand Bhajan finished with such vibration. It was amazing. And my 2 boys were there as well. And it was very uplifting.
Mm-hmm. So this was shortly after coming back from Spain and the recovery, and then
not shortly, after about 2 or 3 years.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
After 2 or 3 years.
And what was that like, first time hearing about Swami and getting to know who Swami was? What did that feel like? How did you get drawn?
I got drawn because I felt that Swami was with us, and he was looking after us. He was taking care of us.
So you knew Swami, because you said you were attending bhajans weekly, so you knew Swami before?
Before,
you
yes.
knew of him, who he is.
And the first thing that came to me after the incident in Spain was that, yes, Swami was looking after us.
Okay.
Because it could have been worse.
Yeah. So that was the moment where you really felt that Swami is God and he's divine and...
Divine.
Wow. Okay. That's very, touching. Uncle, I wanted to ask if you can share some experiences that you've had of Swami at any, in Prashanti or even here. Anything that comes to mind, any close experiences?
I can recollect one in Prashanti when we went in 1994.
Okay.
And we were, at that time, there was a system where you got a number and we were right in the front. And as Baba came and he stopped just very close to us and he gave vibhuti somebody. And that vibhuti was shared with us. So I got that vibhuti from Baba's hand.
Yes.
The other incident, and my wife got a darshan at that time also. Then he went to the ladies' side, and not ladies' side, but as he was coming in to Kulwantho, he was looking directly at my wife, eye-to-eye contact.
Yes.
And she was so happy with that.
Yeah, yeah.
And through the center, I met so many people, Vadgama uncle and people who had vibhuti at their places and so forth. And I experienced in Australia even.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I met through the Sai Center in Perth, Australia, Western Australia. Yeah. There was a guy who had vibhuti manifest in his temple, in his room. And I had with me my family's photo and all that. And he asked me to go to his house. We placed the photo by Baba's feet. And then next day I got a call saying that, come, the envelope is full of vibhuti.
Wow.
And so that is my experience in Australia. Then the other experience is in Shirdi. Yeah. When we went to Shirdi in 1998.
Yeah.
And there is a procession from the temple, Shirdi temple, to Dwakamai. And the security guard came and called us and said, right, stand behind the palki with Baba's photo and original paduka. And we went, set off from Mandir, walking around the streets to Dwakamai. And I said to my wife, how did this happen? And we were touching the photo and walking along the street. There were people there and there were security who had a rope so nobody comes in the way. And me and my wife behind the palki walking. Yeah.
Wow.
So we still today, we
cannot understand
how it happened.
Wow. I think in each of those experiences, the first one you mentioned with your wife, with Auntie, many devotees, they say, like, when Swami looks at you, it's as if he's only looking at you, and you feel this immense joy, and that's what you describe.
She still remembers and talks about it. It was eye-to-eye contact, she says.
Yes, yeah. And then the second experience was in Australia. That was was that the time you had mentioned to us before we started that you went for was that the exchange?
The exchange program, because the family from Australia came to London and I was on my own, so I went and stayed in their house.
Okay.
In Perth, Western Australia.
Yeah, so those 3 months your family was here, but in that experience you mentioned was that the picture of your family that had the vibhuti?
My family,
Yes.
I left it at Baba's feet and it was covered with vibhuti. And the smell I can still remember, and I can smell it as I'm talking.
Yeah.
The smell of the vibhuti was amazing. And I called my family, I said, come quick, book the ticket and come and see.
Yes.
And we went to the place again to see where the vibhuti was manifested on the photos.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So it's like Swami, because you were going there for 3 months and maybe you were a bit worried, but Swami showed that I'm looking after and everything is fine.
And the whole 3 months, everything I did, it just worked like clockwork.
Yeah.
There was not a single hitch in anything. So.
Wow.
And I'm sure and I'm convinced that Baba was doing it all for me and my family.
Thank you, Uncle, for sharing. Is there any other experiences that you've had maybe here in the UK or anything where you felt that Swami's divine power has been there?
Yes. So when my younger son was getting married, I don't know if you know Hema Ben Joshi, at her house, vibhuti comes on, and she has bhajans every Thursday. So, used to, not now anymore. And my younger son was getting married, so the wedding invitation, we took it and left it there at her house by Baba's photo.
Yeah.
And after 2 or 3 days, she rang and said, "Come and take your invitation. I think there is vibhuti in it."
So that Swami's always showing you in every instance, every big event in life, small event, he's showing he's there.
Yeah.
Uncle, how would you describe your relationship with Swami? You know, many people say father, mother, friend. How, over the years, how has his relationship been with you?
He's father, mother, always looking after us, and he's with us.
You say father, mother, and many different forms. How have you developed that relationship with Swami over the years? What has kept you close to Swami?
What kept me close to Swami is everything I do, I first remember Swami first.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter I'm just getting into the car and driving off, I remember.
Swami.
I chant Gayatri Mantra and Swami's as well, and then that's how I start the day. So wherever I am or doing something, I do that. Even I love doing gardening, and when I start gardening, I do that.
Chant. Yes,
and
you've
then
got the habit.
whatever I want to do, it gets finished.
Yes, yes. You always have his name. It's your habit now to always think. Yes. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Uncle. And I just want to switch to a couple of questions on the kind of service side. I know we had mentioned at the start that you've been involved in many medical camps. Do you mind sharing a little bit about?
Yes, I've done medical camps in Africa, in Zambia twice, Malawi, and Sierra Leone. I've been to St. Petersburg in Russia as well.
Wow. Okay.
And what I felt is that in my profession, what I've learned, I should be able to give it to the people, help them out in their diseases or whatever it is. So I should be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found very satisfying, because we used to start camp early in the morning by 8 o'clock, work till about 9, 10 o'clock. And I've never worked that hard. And yet I never felt tired.
Yeah.
I've never worked a year that much, and I never felt tired. And next day again you start, and this goes on for about 1 week or 10 days or so.
Yeah.
And you spend money for the tickets, for lodging and boarding, and everything is you do it, but you go and give your service free of charge. We take medicines with us, you give medicine. The reward I get is that it's not that I'm working this long over it. Is when the patient who comes with some blindness or anything gets an implant done, cataract and all, by the surgeons, and the next, the minute they see put the glasses on them, there is a big smile on their face. And the satisfaction you get just seeing that is so amazing. It's something you cannot describe it.
Yes.
And that's the reward I got in all these camps.
Really changing people's lives, completely turning it around. Yeah.
And as we take the medicine, and the worst thing is we went to Zambia and Malawi. Malawi is so poor, the people are. And they got only the clothes they are wearing.
Yeah.
And you give them medicine and say, use this one, and the other one, say, for example, is a cream for the eye. Keep it in the fridge, and you get a blank look. And say, why? What's the matter? They have never had a fridge in their home. And I just stopped asking, telling them, I felt so bad. It really
triggers something inside of you, brings things to the ground.
How lucky we are.
Yeah.
And it brings home that message. We are so lucky.
Yes. And Uncle, you mentioned, it was very interesting, you mentioned about when you do Swami's work, the energy just continues.
It flows,
It just flows. What is that feeling like? I've experienced it myself, and I know that a lot of people say when you do his work, he does your work. How do you think that is? How does that happen?
I don't know how it happens, but somehow you get energy from somewhere.
Yeah.
And as I say, the best thing is the satisfaction you get.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yes. Because in those moments when you're connecting and serving people and making a difference in their life, I guess you're really connecting with divinity. The divinity
right.
in them and the divinity in you is connected.
Right.
You're there, you're fully alert, you're present. I think sometimes also being present, and you mentioned about always chanting Gayatri Mantra. That really helps you make sure that the work you're focusing on is you're there, you're very present, and you're not distracted. Do you find that that's the key? Yeah. And Uncle, you know, you've obviously done a lot of service in many medical camps. What does service mean to you in life?
Service is that I've been lucky to be able to get into my profession, and I find that whatever I've learned and whatever I do, I want to give it back to the people. And that's the main reason.
And obviously the experience that you've had with many medical camps, would you recommend that experience to others to try?
Oh, definitely recommend that. And the main point is, and I gave a talk at Mill Hill Sai Centre in Canada Villa, was that you don't have to be qualified or a professional. You can enroll for the medical camp to do various tasks, clerical work, computer work, or whatever. You can do that.
Thank you, Uncle. And just one more question on this theme. What key teaching of Swami's has helped you the most throughout life? Either teaching, quote?
Teaching is that the discipline. You must have discipline in whatever you do. How you go about your life, have discipline. Talk lovingly. And the other thing is that God resides in you all the time. The God is there in you.
And Uncle, why do you feel discipline is so important? What is your
Discipline
connection?
is important because it teaches you how you should behave with people at work or in your life.
Thank you, Uncle. And then next I wanted to ask you, this year we are celebrating 35 years anniversary of Mill Hill.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yes. And you've obviously been at the center for, you know, a lot of those years, majority of those years. Can you share, Uncle, your fondest memories about the center?
Oh, the center, that time we used to be in Totteridge Hall there, in St. Andrew's School, I think.
That's right, yes.
And we celebrated while we were there, and the memory I have got is that to celebrate the 25 years of the center was to early in the morning at 7:45, because there the bhajans used to start by
a little bit earlier, yes.
And we used to walk around the school with Baba's photo on a palki, carry the palki and go around the school grounds.
Wow. Yeah.
And those photos were shared in the magazine, which was published to celebrate the 15 years of the center.
Okay, yes. Wonderful, Uncle. And I think you have...
Yes, I felt I got this copy of the
25th, and it says, 25th anniversary, yes.
And there are photos of all the activities of the center there.
Yes.
And I also wrote an article about my medical camp experience in Zambia.
Yes. Yes, this was released, it's called Prema Jyoti Special Edition. So this was in 2015, the magazine released, and it was so many different contributions, and you mentioned so many devotees' pictures, and over the years, those devotees that are unfortunately no longer with us are also...
When I go through it, I say, oh, I remember this person.
Yes.
Unfortunately, no longer with us.
Yes. Thank you, Uncle, for bringing that and sharing it with us. Are there any other memories about Mill Hill, or what do you enjoy the most about Mill Hill Center and coming every week for the...
Is the welcome you get. That's the first thing, you know, and as I mentioned about Seva, when you smile and have eye-to-eye contact, it's the pleasure you get. It's welcoming, helpful.
And you obviously you said you've been at the center since 1991. What impact has the center had on your life outside of the center, outside of the Sai organization?
Outside the center is to help anybody who needs it.
Thank you, Uncle. So just moving on to the last couple of questions. As you know, many young adults across the global Sai organization, they're navigating big moments in their life. It could be graduation, first job, marriage, children. So many different things are happening in that kind of young adult phase. If there was one message you could share to young adults to keep Swami close during these moments, what would that be?
I would say, remember, Baba is always with you.
Lovely.
He resides in your heart.
It's always there with you. Thank you, Uncle. Moving on to the last question. This year we're celebrating Swami's 100th birthday, centenary year. We'd love to hear if you can share your birthday wish for Swami.
My birthday wish for Swami was, Baba bless me and my family and take care of us.
Thank you so much, Uncle. That was really wonderful. Some of your experiences, they're just so beautiful. Just those constant reminders that Swami is there in your life, and always to remember. I think that was your key message: is always chant Gayatri Mantra, Sai Gayatri, anything, but always keep Swami in every work that you do. Thank you so much, Uncle. I really enjoyed that. And thank you to everyone who's joined us on this episode of Tuning Into Sai. And please stay tuned for the next episode. Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai.